This story is brought to you by Finding Love Again.
Once upon a time in a quiet town, there was a couple named Sarah and Ben. They had been married for several years and shared a life filled with dreams, hopes, and a deep bond. However, everything changed one fateful summer when Sarah found herself drawn to Ben's brother Jake. It started with innocent flirting during family gatherings and quickly escalated into a whirlwind romance that shattered Sarah's and Ben's world. When Ben discovered the affair, heartbreak washed over him like a tidal wave. The trust he had placed in Sarah shattered, leaving emptiness in its wake. Sarah was left with guilt and regret as she watched the love of her life crumble before her eyes. After a painful confrontation that tore their lives apart, Sarah and Ben decided to separate, each choosing to heal in their own way. The years that followed were filled with loneliness for Ben, who threw himself into work, and for Sarah, who grappled daily with the weight of her decisions. As time passed, they slowly began to rebuild their lives apart, both haunted by the memories of their love story. Then one crisp autumn day, fate intervened. Ben was at the local coffee shop working on his laptop when he heard a familiar laughter. He looked up and nearly choked on his coffee. There was Sarah standing at the counter, her hair slightly longer, but her smile still warm and inviting. She had changed, but remained the woman he had once loved deeply. With a swirl of emotions, Ben felt a mix of anger and longing, while Sarah felt the pangs of nostalgia and regret. Sarah mustered the courage to approach Ben's table. "Ben," she started, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can we talk? I know I don't deserve it, but I need to apologize for everything." In that moment, the years of pain and suffering gushed forth as Ben nodded silently, allowing Sarah to sit across from him. Their conversation began awkwardly as each word felt heavy with unresolved feelings. Sarah spoke first, recounting her journey through guilt and self-reflection. Ben listened intently, his heart torn between the anger that once consumed him and the remnants of love he still harbored. As their conversation deepened, they reminisced about the good times and shared dreams they had once built together. By the end of the afternoon, a tentative truce had formed between them. They agreed to meet again, allowing the fragile thread of trust to slowly mend. Weeks turned into months as they continued to meet often at that same coffee shop where hope had rekindled. They talked about their pain, their mistakes, and importantly about their desires for the future. Sarah began to paint again, something she had given up during her darkest days, while Ben began to write, sharing his feelings through poetry. Through these interactions, they acknowledged the complexities of their past, but they also began to rediscover the love that had once thrived. They found comfort in each other's presence, laughter slowly returning to their conversations. One evening, under the soft glow of twinkling lights in the cafe, Ben grasped Sarah's hand and looked into her eyes. "I didn't think we could come back from this," he confessed. "But here we are," Sarah replied softly, her heart swelling with hope. As winter melted into spring, the couple chose to navigate the path of reconciliation. They worked together to rebuild their relationship, attending counseling sessions and learning to communicate again. With every shared moment, they stitched together the tapestry of their love, now woven with the threads of honesty, forgiveness, and resilience. Eventually, Ben realized he could forgive Sarah, not just for his sake, but for her to regain her own identity and peace. Likewise, Sarah learned to forgive herself, understanding that everyone makes mistakes, but they should not define the entirety of a person. The couple discovered that sometimes love, although bruised, can be reignited even after the darkest of storms. They had walked through the resulting pain and had come out on the other side hand in hand, not just as partners, but as better individuals who had learned and grown. And thus, on a sun-drenched afternoon, Ben got down on one knee in that same coffee shop where their journey toward forgiveness had begun. With tears of joy streaming down Sarah's cheeks, she nodded emphatically, the love they had fought for shining brightly in their hearts once again. Together, they planned a new future steered by the lessons of the past and ready to embrace the love they had found once more. With newfound resolve, they began to carve out their dreams together, their conversations filled with excitement about the life they envisioned. The aroma of fresh coffee mingled with the sweet sound of their laughter, creating a backdrop that felt just right for new beginnings. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues over everything, Ben and Sarah walked into their next chapter hand in hand, ready to face whatever came their way. As they strolled through the park, the promise of spring was in full bloom around them, mirroring the fresh start they were embarking on. Every shared laugh and dream ignited an unwavering bond, where those earlier wounds transformed into stepping stones towards a deeper connection. The world felt like it belonged to them, full of endless possibilities and the thrill of love that had weathered the storm.